Hey, what's up, everybody? We're on to part 3 with Sam Honest here. We are just like deep in it with the history of how you got started, how we all started getting connected, and I just kind of like to get right into it. As a side note, follow us. We're doing these things. If you have anything you want to talk about or anybody you want to see on the cast, hit us up. All right, let's go right back into it. So we're bringing in new writers from school. Kind of fill us in like where we're at right now.
Through VSong, the educational language learning series, I was shooting a ton of content throughout 10 different units of language learning, and trying to find children to be a part of it was crazy. And then writing the scripts based off of the requirements to be in each of those segments. Finding locations to match those segments because they were really specific sometimes.
Very
right?
much so. Like we need to have the side of a swimming pool, and you're like, what?
Yeah, like one thing.
Props.
Like one of them was about like holidays, so we picked Halloween because it happened to be October, and the neighborhood we were in was all decked out. So we picked the craziest looking decked out house and shot a couple things in front of their house.
Now, did they propose a problem for the South Korean production house, like Halloween wasn't a thing or anything like that? Did anything weird like that happen?
No, we always sent in the scripts to be approved.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
I remember that. We had to get scripts
knew.
approved.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and I remember they would change them so much.
Or like
do you remember that?
Yeah, because you'd read it and be like, this doesn't even make English sense.
Yeah. So, gosh, and me and Ashley still talk about it too and make jokes about how she would write the script. Clearly that's English. We all speak English. That's correct.
Yeah, we speak
But we'd
words.
send it in and then they'd send it back with notes that were in broken English.
Yeah.
Which is ironic. and then they would like re-edit our stuff anyway to the point where it was so different that Ashley's like, well, why are you even paying me if you're changing it anyway? So she's like, well, I'm going to let them pay me, but this isn't what I wrote, but whatever. You know?
Well, and what it is we have we have a little bit of a different way that we do stuff over here, so we're trying to figure it out.
That's fine.
So I think the hiccup that I noticed a lot was with that broken English, they were trying to teach a certain way is what I got used to. And I was like, okay, so they're trying to teach like noun, verb, adjective in a certain way to express it that echoes the way like South Korean or just Korean is spoken. So like it gets frustrating, like we're talking about, but like I just remember those moments of like, how am I gonna like not get mad at this? Okay, right. I gotta remember that they're trying to teach. It's like teaching somebody Spanish how we say like the tall brown cow, and it's like the cow that's tall that's brown.
Right.
They have to like teach it a certain way so then they can interpret it.
Right.
But it would be hilarious because you'd be like, oh, this is perfect. This is a great script, and then you'd come back and you're like, I don't even know if these kids are gonna be able to remember the lines because they'd be so broken.
Because that's not how you would say that, which was interesting. Yeah. Like one of them, for example, my friend Ashley and I would try to add some humor to it so it wasn't just completely dry. And we were working with these two kids that were so funny. They were so funny and animated. And so one of them, like the scene was the kids won a video contest and got to go to the local studio, and the kids go to the studio, meet the manager, and he goes, okay, let's take you on the tour. And one of the kid goes, aye, aye, Captain, just like as a cute little like, okay. And one of their response, the VSong writers were like, do kids say like this? They were like, didn't get it. And I'm like, yeah. I guess they wouldn't get this.
Right. There might be a little bit of like because I know the English language, especially in America, we have like all these like sayings, like if you were to be like, I don't like the cut of your jib, they'd be like, what does this mean?
Right.
And we're like, oh yeah, we can't do any of that.
Another example of like just maybe if it was cultural confusion or something, because there was some of that, and it's like, okay, well, where can we meet in the middle, where maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but what you're saying doesn't make sense to us, and if you want this to be like accurate American kids and the way they speak, then we need to find a place in the middle to do that. And one of the units was just like birthday party, and the vocab words were like gift, cake, candles, piñata, stuff like that. And so we wrote a little script about just like a kid goes to a birthday party. Now it's time to cut the cake. Now it's time to blow out the candles. It was like basic. And so we thought, okay, there's no room for confusion here. This is a birthday party.
Right.
These are normal things that happen at birthday parties. Then they thought our script was boring. And they said, needs more spice. Spice?
Yeah, right.
It's an 8-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah, right.
They opened a doll and then hit a piñata.
A PhD. Yeah.
And then this stripper walks.
Yeah, right. We got fireworks.
Got real spicy.
Yeah, got real spicy.
Needs more spice.
It's
What
like-
are you talking about?
hot
This
sauce
is
on
exactly
cake.
what this is. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Oh man, and I mean with those kinds of moments too, I remember just like at some point you just quit fighting. You're like, I'm gonna send it in. They're gonna send me the script, and we're gonna be like,
Oh yeah, you don't fight. Whatever you want.
I gotta
No.
shoot 20 of these today, so like I ain't got
Whatever
time to.
you wanna do.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, birthday party takes place in an aqua purifier. Whatever, dude. Let's go. I just remember too. And I don't know if this happened to you, but we brought it up on the previous cast. Is how we basically had to melt a kid's face, or Sean did, in order to get rid of acne.
Yeah, we didn't have like content aware Phil.
But he was
stuff
like our
that.
best. But he was like one of our best actors.
Yeah.
And so you kind of had to like, and also too, the pays for the actors weren't very high either. So you couldn't just have like a plethora of actors, and then you just try to keep as many as you could on at a time. Did you have any like editing situations like that where you had to like basically change a human's face? Or
No, luckily, we didn't. One of the kids, they were like, no braces, absolutely no braces. But one of our best kids was Tomas Herrera's son.
Yes, Jack.
He had great braces, but he was such a good actor and spoke clearly that they made an exception for Jack because he was great.
I remember that too, because I remember seeing Jack, and then years later I actually ended up being like a supervisor at the Lyric when I was working there, and being like, Jack, you know how you don't know me, but I've known you for like 30 years. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I've noticed since you were this big on V-song shorts wearing braces, being very well spoken.
Yeah.
Hi, how's it going? I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, dude.
He was an exception because he was exceptional. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Jack Herrera out there. If anybody wants to find him and put him in your film, he'd probably do pretty damn good. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So we go through V-song stuff, and these are all the hiccups that we had to do. Let's kind of talk about like what, like, we're on site. Yeah, we're talking about the shoots. We're talking about what it took to get these things taken care of. Let's talk about like what it took to get it to them with these different levels, and like how many we were having to get done in such a short amount of time. Like, what was our speed run here? Like, yeah, we're talking about all the dirty details, but like, let's also add in the element of like how fast we had to like there was like one takes sometimes, or like we'd do like full day shoots, and they might just trash the entire like 10 scripts and tell us to reshoot on that stuff. And let's kind of talk about like 30K might sound amazing, but when you're doing 1,600 shorts,
And between four of you guys plus editing,
like we're lucky that Sean had somewhere for us to stay, or we would have been like, we're sleeping on the shore.
yeah,
We'll sleep on set, you know?
straight up.
Yeah, but like talking about that, like our sprints, going into that kind of stuff. What have we all kind of taken away from that being kind of the front end of us getting into this world, and to what steps and stuff like going into insight and things that need things done in a quick turnaround, and kind of like seeing what your stretching moments are of like not taking forever to shoot, being able to condense down your time to get things done, and be able to do things where like, you know, the films we talked about where we were just keeping every shot, learning how to kill your darlings a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So let's kind of go into that a little bit. Like, we've learned.
Yeah.
Now it's time to get the thing done and don't care like what we have to do to get there.
Yeah.
So what's our next steps here?
I mean, like one of the biggest things I remember is we had the Magnolia document. I don't know if you had something similar to that, where it was like a online Google spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, the
for that.
spreadsheet. Yeah.
And it had every single like
Oh my god.
code.
We had to put the code for the shorts. Yeah.
And they had the ability to like go in and add notes in like every version. So like we had like this master document of every short film, and it would have to go through every iteration of versions and notes. And
Until it turned green.
And then it turned green, and
then we know it was done.
Yeah.
So it's not like, not only are we editing all of these 15, 20 a day,
Yeah.
sometimes we're doing 2 to 3, 4 versions
Like
of
redo
each
them.
of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Every time.
Just like, oh, it's too slow, or it went over because there's like, wasn't it like a minute?
There's a couple
our
cuts
acts or something like that, or like 45 seconds to a minute.
Seconds. There's like, depending on what they told
And
us.
so if it's slightly over that, you have to figure out how to cut kids talking slowly on purpose. So it's already being dragged out. Like, how do you make that?
Speed it up a little.
You can't, because they want it slow, but it's also too long. So yeah, I remember the Magnolia document was what we called it. And it was just, that was like,
Massive.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah, there's a lot of restrictions within it.
for sure. And I mean, now a lot of us do commercial work to be able to get paid, travel a lot. Like Sean and I talked about in the last cast, is that we do a lot of traveling for certain gigs. And one thing that we work with is a certain company out of Florida that we all are kind of getting pick up on, and you've taken the lead on those projects. How do you see the transition from the V-Song stuff, and there is one in there, to doing things like this, knowing like where you've came from with that to where you're at now?
Yeah, doing stuff with V-Song was definitely a good training for Insight stuff. I feel like all I know is chaos, immediate. Everything seems to be like an emergency. And at this point, like I'm 10, 15 years into this career, I'm like, it's marketing. It's not like life or death. It's not an emergency, but everybody that says it's an emergency. And luckily, we've all gotten good at like, you have this much time to get this done. And so you just do the best you can. But we've gotten good at like running around like crazy, doing it as fast as you can, but like still maintaining the quality. Like every single day is a film race. Every single shoot was a film race.
Yeah, and not even that exciting of a film race. You almost are like, okay, what was the formula we used for the last one? Let's repeat it. But then there's just a room, so we move the light 3 inches this way. We got the shot, go. Like it's to that point now. But to get to that point in your career where you're feeling comfortable with that without getting jaded to then do the creative stuff on the side, that's also a balance in itself.
Yeah, so doing V-Song and having those emergency shoots daily, I'm just used to the stress of that.
Yeah.
And then when you came out with the Weekend Warriors project, like the 48-hour weekend thing, I needed something creative to do to just break up the kind of corporate and slower stuff.
Well, and that was the reason I created Weekend Warriors, because I noticed that all of us were doing work and we're doing great work, but there was no excuse to do something creative.
Right.
That's why it was like, hey, I know you're speed running like commercials that you don't really get excited about. Let's try to create a version of that for filmmaking.
Yeah, and it's so fun. And the best part of filmmaking is sharing your work sometimes, too. I mean, it's working together. It's super fun. Like, I like what you said in the first episode you recorded, that, like, filmmaking is a team sport. And it totally is. And I kind of just accidentally fell into having multiple roles at once. And a lot of us do. Like, I shoot and I edit and I coordinated this whole thing. But when you're able to delegate that, it helps so much. And then being able to show your films at the Lyric, the local movie theater owned by Ben Mosier.
Yeah.
And then having those festivals there where we all can meet each other and watch each other's work and talk about it afterwards. Like that also is like a high that makes you want to do it again.
Right.
Just showing each other's stuff
to
each other.
It's that, I talked to Sean about this a previous cast too, is that vibe of the first, like you guys can sit around, we can make videos and watch them on TV at home. But that first time that you put it up on a big screen where people's eyes cannot look away, this is like
nothing else to look.
They can't look at their phone.
Dark room.
Yeah. Like I guess they could, but it'd be a jerk move. But like you get that and you're like, holy crap, like it changes everything.
Yeah.
So, at this point, because we've been talking, what kind of advice, just quickly, could you maybe give someone who is kind of at the front end of this, and from where you're looking back going, hey, what is just some advice that you might give someone who's so excited about doing something and you don't want them to get jaded or don't lose themselves in the creative process? What would you kind of throw at that person?
I would say join a team that is doing one of those film races to get your foot in the door, to see what it's like to have a limited amount of time, to be as creative as you can in like a day. And then going to that premiere and seeing your work, like that was my idea to do this or that in the film, to put the light this way or to do this effect, and seeing how it gets a reaction. I guess just join a team and make something where you're able to screen it on a big screen. That, because watching it on your phone, watching it on YouTube is cool, but when you actually put it up on the big screen, it's a totally different feeling, and it makes you. You see any mistakes and you're like, okay, I know what I would do next time. Now I want to do it again.
Right. And to address the audience out there, I know where we're at. We can now get on and stream anything. And people's physical collections are dwindling to a point, and it's getting easier to be able to view things. But as creatives in the world, and please, join in, y'all. But in my opinion, you can't lose that. Like, you could try as much as you can to put us into a house with a lowered ceiling, but if you're in a room, you have undivided attention on a film, and we've all experienced it from films that we love, and I'm sure there's cats out there that see movies and they're not even filmmakers that they love. There's something about that room. that room. And I'd almost want to put it to a vote here. Whenever you're a creative and you're putting up a film to show some folks, especially after you got a whole team and they're in that audience with you and they're all nervous too, and you have to represent that team on stage, what's more important in that moment? What is happening on the screen or what's happening in the audience? Like when you're viewing it for the first time to an audience, and this is the first time a massive audience has seen it, where are your eyes as a creative? Where are your eyes at? I know Sean's got an answer, but I want to ask Sam first.
I've seen the film 5 million times. I edited it, so I'm not really watching it. I am watching how the crowd is reacting to it, because you don't know if it's going to flop. You don't know if people are going to get a laugh or you like kind of monitor the applause to see how it did, you know? Right? So I guess for me, the first couple of times that I showed something at the theater, I think it probably was the Weekend Warriors the first time. And then we ended up winning it. So like, I guess that went well. That's really cool feeling.
And a lot of
we were not expecting that at all. We're like, there's so much talent in this town.
And also too, as a side note, with those Weekend Warrior things, it's an audience participation thing. So it's not just a bunch of judges making the call. It's the audience that day watching it with everybody else's films going, this was my favorite. Mm-hmm. So that to me has like a little bit more of the marks of like being in direct viewing competition.
Totally.
Competitions are there to basically give an excuse to do it. And I always like to repeat this. Like, it's not necessarily who's the winner, because you guys can attest to it. It's getting in the room and everybody had to go through the same painstaking process of getting something done, that it's like a camaraderie thing at the end of it. Like, we got through it, guys. We did it.
And I love that. It's not a competition. It's just like, we all did it. And we're celebrating that we all did something hard.
People are drinking together and they're like telling each other like, oh man, I love that thing you did.
Yeah.
And there isn't like this big judgmental like cauldron of like
first, second, third place. It's not like that.
No. And it's not like somebody sees your things like, I could have done that better, or that was all right. It's like, oh my God, dude, how'd you pull that off?
Right.
And that's the whole point of the conversation, is not to be better, but to be like, how can we work together? Because another thing I like to say and notice is it takes about 400 people to make a feature film these days.
Yeah.
And most people's scenes don't have 200 people. So for any scenes out there to be competing and fighting against each other, it doesn't make any sense. You guys need to come together to make a feature, or you're going to be fighting each other forever. Divide and conquer is literally a saying for a reason. So get together, work together, make films together.
Full resources. Like, we have so much equipment in this town. It's ridiculous.
It's from all of us like wanting to come together and share too, because we all want to raise the awareness of filmmaking. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyways, the competition of the filmmaking, where you are at now, Sam, what's going on right now? What happened yesterday? Where's you at? Where you at? Where's you at?
Yeah.
Where's you at?
Yeah. I guess it's actually coming up in February. It would be 9 years that I've been working for Insight. I mean, that's their like umbrella company, but the series is called Viewpoint with Dennis Quaid. And then there's another like sister series, really similar. It's called Empowered with Meg Ryan. And so they're the celebrity hosts. It's a marketing program, essentially. They're 5-minute mini documentaries about anything and anyone.
Yeah, and I think I would even go as far as to say is like innovative versions of things in industries, like the most innovative version of the guy making books, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. The people that are sought out to be on the program are supposed to be, leaders in their industry or trying new things and highlighting whatever they're doing.
Cool.
So I've been like 90% of my work is through that at this point. I get 2 or 3 assignments a month, and a couple years in, I got promoted to be a field producer, working directly with the clients while still shooting and editing. And then I brought Sean in a couple years ago. Is it 3 years now? Almost?
Yeah, going on.
That's crazy.
3
What
years.
is a clock anyway?
Yeah.
That's insane. And it's fun, but it's got its own set of challenges. It seemed glamorous to travel and everything and make films and travel. And that's always what I told myself I wanted to do. I didn't know what capacity, and somehow it manifested it.
Yeah.
Well, can you speak about maybe, in between the two of you, and I've been on these shoots with y'all, but you all been doing a lot more stuff. Tell me about some of the highlights. And I know you're talking about these, you guys go on a lot of shoots, so it might get a little like, repetitive. Let's just say that.
I've seen a lot of airports.
A lot of airports.
Sick.
Right. But like, is there any of these projects? I know like maybe 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 5 might be like a, holy cow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Is there any of those that you can think of right now off the top of your head that was pretty slick?
that was that, like
That was
a
just
cool subject
like
matter?
a cool subject, or one that, like, let's just play it both ways. Either a cool subject matter or a really video that you're really proud of because of the context of the video. Like,
Yeah, I mean, everyone's probably sick of hearing about it now, but I did
One more time.
yeah, one more time. One of the first couple of projects I had with this series was in British Columbia, and the producer I was working with at the time texted me one day and he said, "Are you afraid of bears?" And I was like, I mean, I think by nature, yes, but I would assume that whatever you're about to say, there's a safety regulation or
Yeah, right.
situation where we would
Nope.
actually, you get to ride a bear.
And he said, there's a story in British Columbia about a grizzly bear sanctuary where people, it's like nature viewing, and a lot of the money goes towards grizzly bear conservation because they're on the extinction list. And it was a fly-in destination into this hotel that was floating on barrels. And so we had to take 3 flights to get there. And we were there for like 4 days trying to capture grizzly bears. I flew into Vancouver first, and I didn't have a long lens, but they're like, what's your longest lens you have? And I'm like, it's like 105. It's not
very long.
Yeah.
Sounds long enough.
So I rented like a 200 to 400 millimeter lens, and even that was like, might not even be good enough, but that was like the most I could bring with me. I had all my bags and luggage, and then just held that rental lens like outside by itself. I had nowhere to put it.
Little baby carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like, we were there, and it was raining a lot, so we were there for 3 days. It's all via boats, and these bear guides are driving the boats. They know where they live. They're monitoring where their cubs are, where their like little hibernation caves are, so they know where they are. We're like boating for like an hour along this coast trying to find them. We barely saw anything for 3 days, and I was starting to feel really bad. Like, oh, they flew us all the way out here. It's probably really expensive. They're putting us up. And we got nothing. We got no footage of bears. And then one day it was raining. We're going in for lunch, ready to give up. And the clouds parted. And all of a sudden he's like, actually, hang on. And he kills the boat motor. And the sun came out right at the same time as these 2 like juvenile type bears are like going head to head, growling at each other, and just straight up like Nat Geo action. And I had my lens out. I had tears in my eyes. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'm in focus right now. I hope I am. Yeah, I literally can't tell. I think I'm recording. My eyes are blurry.
Please.
And then the rest of that day, the sun was out, and these bears were super active. And I got the coolest footage of my life. And
Is this that picture that I've seen where there's a bear on a rock?
this one right here?
The one that's like, yeah.
Still the background of my phone, if you can see that.
Right. Yeah, then I've seen this picture various times because it's very.
I know.
It's like it's like an existential like moment of like
It was
creativity.
a pivotal moment, and
You're like, I would have felt.
I feel like this one particular shot alone has gotten me jobs. So it's all luck. Like that, I just have been in the documentary space for so long and with those time crunches, you just make things look as good as you can. And that is unplanned. You can't plan some of these shots. Like, I didn't plan that the clouds parted and everything lined up. The boat swung just so, and it was like right in the center. And just so, you chase that high of like getting lucky in documentary.
Yeah.
And that's so different than making films and being intentional and getting a crew together. Like, so it's been kind of fun. And so I try to get involved with creative film stuff to balance out the documentary stuff.
Yeah.
Because you kind of get stuck in one lane or the other.
And
So I
especially,
try to balance it out.
yeah, especially if you're the career you're in, you get stuck in that lane and stuff like that. But that's a good bridge into, like, you make music videos. We were just talking about that.
Oh, yeah.
You've been doing that kind of stuff. Now, we talked about VSong, we talked about inside stuff, but like let's knock on the creative stuff. You've been doing videos probably as long as we've been doing videos in this town.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain competitions that we're part of, certain bands that we've been doing stuff for years, and even like seeing the rotation of the music scene in Northern Colorado. So like kind of speak on that. Like Wasteland Hops got you to this, and Doug Usher got us to like 5314. Let's get into that.
Yeah. Like I said, Wasteland Hop, the one of their music videos, Motion Rollin', was my first music video, and we were winging it. There was a million locations. Looking back at it now, it's totally cringe, but I love it. It's so fun. We got a ton of people together. Had you guys helping out on it, and from there, we all had fun. the band liked it. And so they invited me to come on a tour with them one time up in Alaska. Mickey, who kind of started the band and got everyone together, is from there. And so he has a lot of connections there and knew venue owners and other musicians. And so they at least once a year for the past like 12 years go up there and tour. And so while we were up there one time, we were in this location in Talkeetna, Alaska, staying in this historic hotel that has a little stage that they always play. And there was a like clawfoot bathtub upstairs in like kind of the inn where we were all staying. And we all decided, what if we shot a music video in here about this one song called Bad Habits, about not brushing your teeth and just kind of being a scrub. And so we like filled up the bathtub with bubbles and had Mickey and Steph, the vocalists, get in there, and we kind of just started shooting a music video. And it turned out super fun. It was a great time. So then all of a sudden I had 2 music videos under my belt.
Well, real quick, I got a side note here because I remember you telling me this, and even Mickey had talked about it too, is Alaska shuts down for about 7 months or something like that. And then for like 3 or 4 months, it is just a party up there. So when you were up there in Alaska, like guys, this is Alaska, and you were going on tour, you got to probably see something that not a lot of people got to see when they go to Alaska, which is basically going on tour to go to parties. Can you just briefly talk about like what that was like up there?
Yeah, since Alaska is obviously super remote, kind of spendy just to get there, much less a place to stay. Like since Mickey's from there, we had places to stay everywhere we went. So that's how we keep the cost
for sure,
at least at bay. But it was definitely cool being with the crew, showing up to these towns and just adding some vibrancy to, the music scene up there is fun too. They're really welcoming to outside bands coming in to provide some entertainment.
Yeah.
And then going to all these different towns, definitely super, super fun.
And was it like, were they just like party animals? Was it like silent? You guys rolled in and it was like, they saw the music coming and they're just like, the show's here. Like, is that kind of how it was? Like,
yeah, people definitely want to throw down. And then there are sometimes just maybe another event going on in town and it's just like a total, no one showed up.
Oh, okay. But it's traditional.
There've been time, I've been up there like 3 or 4 times with them now. And sometimes like, oh, I can't wait to go to this one town. Last time it was a ripping, roaring party. And then that time nobody was there. Like we drove 8 hours to this random town and like no one was there.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, but it happens.
That's all part of the game. But anyways, back on track. Yeah, back to music videos for them. You guys made a couple there.
Yep. And then you want to talk about 5314, how that came about?
Yeah, and I mean, I know that you've done a lot of stuff, and I know that there's some time period between doing Wasteland stuff and doing 5314, but that's a good way for us to kind of talk about like what it's like to do videos here in Northern Colorado. So let's jam on that.
I guess through Wasteland Hop and just having a little bit of experience making music videos, and then you guys were doing In the Shed right around the same time. Mm-hmm. You were doing them as well, live performances and creative like narrative music videos.
Yeah.
Invited you on that Aspen Hourglass shoot.
Oh yeah.
And also was one that like never got posted. It was never.
We got a few of those lined up.
No, you guys do.
Oh yeah. We can't pay him. Like, can we put it out? Crickets. Like, all right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was so funny. Remember how we coordinated all those people to show up? It was supposed to be like a band playing in the backyard with younger versions of themselves. Like
that's right. Oh my God.
It's the younger version of themselves.
Like, let's cast that with no budget.
Yeah. And then like the lead singer was like, I gotta go. I have a guitar lesson I gotta get to. And we're like, there's like 40 people here to be in your music video.
Yeah. What are you doing?
He eventually he's like, no, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna cancel.
Yeah. I was like,
yes. Yeah. We're all here. He's like, I'll be back in like 2 hours.
You're like this.
No.
We won't. Yeah. So.
We're doing this for free.
Well, I think this warrants a part 4. We're already removed. Yeah. So this was part 3, right? That we just did here. Going on to part 4. This is perfect because we're now going to get into the creative stuff here in Northern Colorado. And what I want to talk to you mostly about is what you're doing creatively. So we're going to stop here. We're going to do another episode. We're going to keep talking to Sam. Stay tuned. Like you said, we're doing these pretty regularly. We want to hear from you. We want to see you out here. And we're doing these live feeds pretty regularly while we're doing the batch recordings. So stay tuned, guys. And cut it here.